Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to the video. There's another paid request. It's time for Rapid Kirby 3K. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal, usually the best bet, or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for A Sound of Thunder, a 2005 film, which I've seen a few times. It's directed by Peter Hyams, which I'm a big fan of that director. I mean, he did Outland, my favorite Sean Connery film. 2010, the year Remake Contact, great sequel to 2001. End of Days, one of my favorite Schwarzenegger films. The Relic, very entertaining monster movie. Stay Tuned with John Ritter. I liked a lot of the guy's work. This one, I would call it an interesting failure. Because the idea I don't mind, despite how little sense it makes, which I'll get to that, at least the way it plays out in the movie. It's based on a short story by Ray Bradbury. And the plot is that it's in the future, 2055. They have gotten the ability to use time travel. So what this company does is it uses it for a safari, where the people that pay the most, they get brought back, and you have to stay on this platform, and this Allosaurus, I believe, comes by. We have these weapons that we shoot it. The weapons will disintegrate. Leave no evidence behind. This dinosaur was going to die no matter what, and going to fall into this tar pit, no matter what. That means we could kill him and it won't change anything. And we had to do it this certain amount of time, this certain way. It gives people just the thrill, the rush of shooting this big fucking dinosaur. And at the same time, they don't fuck up time. But one journey, things go wrong. They go back, things start changing, and you find out that someone had stepped off the path, had killed a butterfly, hence butterfly effect. And then throughout the film, these tidal waves of time come by that change things, and it'll be either the environment, the plants, these different types of creatures come by. And I get it, time travel, in essence, no matter what you do, it will make little sense. There'll be paradoxes, things of that nature. Like Back to the Future, great movie. But then your mind goes, well, wait a minute, if Marty McFly went back in time, he did change time, so now his parents are more in love with each other, they're more infatuated with each other, so that when he gets back to the present, they're even more lovey-dovey, things are perfectly fine, they bought this car for Marty. But if they're such lovey-dovey with each other, would they be living at that same house? Would they be living in the same town? Would they have moved to a different town? Would Marty have been brought up differently with parents that really love each other instead of parents that are kind of okay with each other? Would Marty be with the same girlfriend? Would Marty, there's all sorts of questions that arise, but that's with any time travel story. Or you have paradoxes like Terminator. Well, okay, if you are the father of this baby, but you haven't been born yet, how did it work out the first time where John Connor was the resistance fighter when his father wasn't even born yet? So the very first time that time goes by, was there no resistance fighter, and did we all just go extinct? But then somehow, some way, someone got back in time and then created John Connor by fucking Linda Hamilton in the cooch, and that's what paradox is. So again, anytime you do it, but even this movie, it's like the change in time comes in waves, where there's like you see a literal tidal wave of time, and then people get changed, or I should say the environment gets changed. Like, the scientist lady explains it like ripples, like when you throw a stone and the water ripples. I just one of those things you just buy into it or you don't. Because when things get changed back to normal, it's instantaneously. Well, isn't that also a ripple in time too? Wouldn't it be take time for it to catch up and change back? Why do the changes here take so much fucking time to do, but when you fix everything, the changes are instantaneously? Wouldn't that also be the ripples in time? I know, I know, I know, I know, I know, I know, I know. But there are movies I enjoy that have a dumb plot, a ridiculous plot, but I enjoy it for other reasons. Volcano with Tommy Lee Jones. Yes, I know it's a stupid plot that there's gonna be a fucking volcano in Los Angeles, but I don't care because I think it's a fucking fun movie with well done special effects, a great cast. Volcano is a B movie idea, like those Sci-Fi Channel films, but done well. This could have been that. This could have been that dumb but fun popcorn entertainment movie. But, number one, the major one, they didn't have the money. It said it cost 80 million, but I don't think they really had 80 million because for what I read up, the company that was financing it went bankrupt, and then they didn't have all the fucking money. I don't know if it's true. I would love to ask Peter Hyams about this movie. I would never get the chance, but if somehow I was able to interview Peter Hyams, I'm like, I want to know the step-by-step processes of what happened during the making of this movie. Not to rag on you, not to make fun of you, just to sincerely talk about how things like this happen in Hollywood and the trials and tribulations of a director. Because I know this guy's capable of making good movies. Most of his filmography I love. Even, Capricorn 1 I don't mind. And Enemies Closer I didn't mind. Sudden Death, Time Cop. I know this guy can make good movies. But, the company went bankrupt. There was floods that damaged a lot of the sets. There was no money for post-production, which you could tell because they were not finished. Most of the effects seem like they're previs or they're early stages. They're not finished. So they look much more cartoony. They look much more... You just tell. It's an unfinished movie. And that's what I mean by interesting failure. It's like a rough cut of a movie. But it was released. And the effects are a rough cut. Now, granted, you kind of wish they would have gone more practical route, but they trusted a company that got bankrupt and fucked them over, and there you go. And that's why the movie is not a good movie. It's just, again, an interesting failure that I think could have at least been a bit dumb, fun popcorn movie if the effects were more finished. Just even movies like Deep Blue Sea. I love Deep Blue Sea. Some of the CGI does not hold up at all. When Sam Jackson gets eaten, that looks awful. The idea is funny, and that's why it can work for me. Sam, you think he's going to be give this big rousing speech, and he gets eaten. A fucking shark ate me. The effects look, but there's a lot of good action and effects that do work. There are some practical effects and action scenes that Rennie Harlan made work. And much more of an R-rated pulse-pounding action. Here, it's not really a pulse-pounding R-rated action because there's no gore. You don't even have the heroes kill a lot of the creatures that come out of the woodwork. So you don't even have that kind of body count on either side. I know that sounds weird on an entertainment value, but it is. You get a bunch of creatures, you want to see them get the shit kicked out of them, or shot, or cut up, or shot the shit up, or something. Arnold Schwarzenegger style. Like Arnold killing those cult members in End of Days with the machine gun and shoving a grenade launcher up the devil's ass. Yeah! But again, going back to this, Edward Burns is a star, and it's funny I mentioned Deep Blue Sea. Rennie Harlan apparently was going to do this film with Pierce Brosnan starring. Which that would have been neat to see how that would look. how that would work. With the right budget, of course. But something happened, and then Rennie Harlan was let go, and then Pierce Brosnan's like, nope, I'm gone. So Peter Hyams came on. You got Edward Burns as the star. I don't mind Edward Burns. Films like this killed his film career, though. He was in 15 Minutes with Robert De Niro. He was in this film. These films didn't do well. Again, his film career went belly up. But I don't mind him. He's not the most charismatic actor. But the way he talks, the way he kind of acts, kind of low key but natural. Like I don't mind him. I think I don't mind him as a lead of a movie. Just he has sort of like an easygoing nature for a leading man that at least is a little bit appealing to me. So I don't think Edward Burns was the problem. I know a lot of people didn't like him. I didn't mind him. I think there's much bigger problems with the movie. At least in the movie, yeah, I know it doesn't make a lot of sense. Like you have time travel, and the first fucking thing you do is a safari. Really? Why would that be? If we created time, think about it. If we created time travel, would the first fucking bit of business be a safari? But I mean, I know that's the. To be honest, I haven't read the Ray Bradbury short story, so I don't know if time travel is just a typical thing, and there's just another aspect to it, or they were the first and only time travel regime, and their first thought is a safari. I don't know. Listen, I never read the short story. And it's a lot of bad green screen that really takes you out of the movie. Even Edward Burns and someone walking across the street is supposed to be a city, it's a future city, 2055. But then you could tell they're not in the same realm as this backdrop, and you could easily see it. There's this scientist lady that worked on the project but left because even she was like, you use this idea to turn to safari. Even she's like, that, what the fuck, really? So Edward Burns talks with her a bit because she was pissed off that these guys are doing this. And Edward Burns, I like his bit of character where the reason he's doing this is that each time they go back, he does like DNA stuff to help clone animals successfully. Like he wants to keep doing this to be able to clone like a lion, because the animal's been extinct for a long while, and we could do cloning techniques, but we don't have all the DNA regime for these animals. But each time I go back, I don't know how the fuck that all works. You're back to the era of the dinosaurs, but somehow you get DNA for lions when there's no lions in the area when they go back. I don't know how it works. It just, that's what they say, so that's why I guess I believe in. But like I said, the as much little sense it makes, there is a part that kind of likes the idea of a rich fuck company having a safari to take people back to hunt dinosaurs, and of course, like many companies, they think their shit don't stink, so yeah, the higher pricks shoot dinosaurs and do it a way where it doesn't affect time, and then the idea to go back to the present and all these different creatures emerge and different mutants and different, well, it it has the makings of like just a dumb fun action horror popcorn movie. So I know this is basically like the idea is stupid, but the same thing, the idea is kind of fun in a B movie silly way. To me, at least. Because one point they do it, like I said, their guns don't work. Something happened. The clients get scared. They run off. They come back. They think everything's fine, but then you get these time waves that come in and keep changing. So, like one wave comes in, and now there's a lot of CGI bugs, or I found it funny in this scene because Edward Burns is with the scientist. He knows something has happened. He's talking to her. One of these waves pop up. They open the door. All of a sudden, there's these CG bugs there, and they look really bad. I mean, they look worse than they did in The Mummy in 1999. The thing I find funny about is that they're ready to blow the place up. They jump off the roof, and thankfully there's a tree there. But then the lady goes, "What's this tree doing here? There's no tree here." And then made me question, when you jumped off the roof, what was the plan? Well, you don't land on the pavement? like, like you easily, yeah, let's jump off the roof. I'm like, you didn't know there was a tree there, so where were you going to land? I guess, hey, eat my buzz or jump off a roof. I guess fuck it, you know. Granted, I would think maybe try to get to another building that's next to you, maybe, or try to jump to another building that maybe to the side, or try to climb down and hold on for dear life. But no, they just jump off, and thankfully there was a big ass tree that they didn't know was there. And in the whole tidal wave thing, I get it where we want to have this build up to what's happening next. Like, oh, there's a time. There's a ticking clock. There's a ticking clock that we only have this amount of time to fix this. So how do we do a ticking clock? These tidal waves, and also with each one, we can introduce a new creature or a new enemy, kind of like a video game. Which is funny, there was a video game of this for Game Boy Advance, which I never fucking knew about. If it's on that one device I have, I kind of want to see if there's a, if it's on there, and maybe play it. If it's on there, I kind of want to play the game to see how the fucking game is, because I didn't realize there was a fucking video game of this. Let's see. I know there's another time wave. And that's the thing, is that when you don't have the budget behind it, it just looks a lot very cheap. It looks like Sci-Fi Channel stuff. And then the action, I thought at times, Peter Hyams kind of let the movie down in a way where, like, there's these different creatures that occur, part baboon, part dinosaur, or these giant bats that, again, I don't know why you didn't try to have some practical effects in there for some of this stuff. I think it was a mistake to rely solely on CGI. I mean, you don't have to have 50 of them, just have 5 of them done practically, and do like Aliens. You have 5 of them, but you make it look like an army based on editing, based on how you move the camera, based on, okay, you 5 are here, then you 3 are here, then you 2 are there. We made some, we made some little things here and there that look like you got shot, and those are disposable costumes. So just up close shots of a chest or up close shots of an arm that gets shot. I think that would have been the better choice, and have some mayhem. Like, Edward Burns shoots one of the baboon dinosaurs, which is so stupid to say out loud, now that I say it out loud. But then, like, one of his buddies gets hurt because of these plants, and there's like 3 people there that could be dragging him. But instead he goes, "No, go on without me." And Edward Burns walks like 30 feet and then turns and stares, and just staring. And the guy's like trying to shoot. He's missing every fucking shot. Doesn't even shoot one of them. Like, at least shoot 1 or 2 of them. Come on, let's get some body count on the other side. Why not? And he's missing like an idiot. And then he's kind of sitting there, and they go, okay, Edward Burns is watching. Is he going to give him a mercy shot? Just, I'll fix this. I'll make sure you're alive after I fix this. Is he don't give a mercy shot? No. They don't shoot a couple? No. He just stares there. Just Edward Burns just stands and stares at the guy. And while these three other people are running away, I'm like, these three people could grab the guy, drag his ass, while Edward Burns is shooting. Give me your gun too. Shoot two at the same time. Have him shoot a couple of them. Maybe a couple die, and then the other kind of see the dead and run off. I'm not going to mess with you. Just the way they did was just really weird, clunky, and again, some bad effects. Or they're driving a vehicle and there's these giant bat creatures. Which again, they don't kill any. They don't manage to kill any. The bat creature takes one of them and grabs them, but you don't see any blood, you don't see any gore. Like, again, even like Deep Blue Sea, you see some people get, bitten in half or torn apart and stuff. Yes, some CGI, but there's practical mixed in there as well. Like when the shark is going through the inner caverns of the facility and the corridors. When they're in that funnel that they need to climb up, the shark comes up, grabs the girl, and pulls her down. Those scenes work. To add those amongst that makes the... Yeah, it's still bad CG, but I'll let it go because you give me some nice meat with the potatoes. This is all potatoes and no meat. Not even the good French fry potatoes. Spoiled mayonnaise potatoes. And there's definitely some wanty ideas. There's a bit they go in because they're trying to find which of the clients screwed up and find exactly what it is that they did. Because they don't know about the butterfly under the boot yet. So they go in this one facility and they see the if you want to see baboon creatures upside down, like bats, or like vampires, although vampire baboons, I might want to see that movie, but might. And there's a bit in an underground tunnel. They go through a subway car, and there's these eel creatures. The idea, bad effects, like when it comes in, crashes through a window and grabs a girl and tears her out. It looks really funky and bad, and it just... Why did Peter Hyams not have any practical for these certain shots? It's like he just this is why you cannot rely solely on CGI. Because when something like this happens, at least with the practical, you would have stuff on set that you could work with. This is like, well, we don't have the money, so now it's going to be the cheap knockoff version of these type of effects. Although, I mean, even if the effects were on point, I don't know if this film would still be... I don't think this film would have been well received. Even if the effects were... If the CGI effects were done, I think the film would have still bombed because of the script having a lot of plot holes in it. I said, even for people like me, I want a bit more grit in the action, a bit more punch to the action. So kill the creatures, kill the monsters, blow their heads up, something like that. You don't really get that as well. There's not really much in terms of gore. Even End of Days, the devil punches his hand through a guy's head. But anyway, by the end, it's two of them left. Ben Kingsley disappears because I guess he stays behind, lets them all do their own thing. So Ben Kingsley, again, disappears about halfway through the film. I didn't even mention Ben Kingsley's in the film. He's the guy that runs the corporation. With this crazy hair, crazy white hair. That almost looks like he's got a bump. Almost like he's Dennis Hopper in Super Mario Brothers. But he's got this white hair, and it looks like he's got this fucking bump on top of his head, like an egg. Looks like an egg head. And Ben Kingsley, get a paycheck. Which, if you want to see him in more of a sci-fi creature feature, just don't watch the first Species movie. That's a better sci-fi movie with Ben Kingsley than this one. So then Edward Burns gets in the contraption. He goes back. He fixes things. Instantaneously, things are changed. Now in the tidal waves, like if this goes in tidal waves, why isn't that going in tidal waves? Because it has to be. That's just the way it is. This is a film that just seems like it has a very interesting backstory, and I would love to hear it. I know John Hyams, his son, he was interviewed. It was a written interview saying, I think for my dad, that was like the worst experience he had making a film. That's probably why you never really hear Peter Hyams talk about it, but I would love to hear him talk about it because I love to hear about this might happen to other directors and sort of I mean, I know it's reliving the horror story, but at the same time, make people prepared what might happen again and the trials and tribulations of Hollywood and how it's not all sunshine and rainbows. And yeah, I would love to hear Peter Hyams talk about this movie. That would be very interesting. It'll never happen, but oh well. So again, it's a failure. It's an interesting failure, but it's still a failure. I mean, I could watch it just as sort of this fascination of. I could tell, like, with the lighting of the film and some of the way the sets are, there's meant to be a big budget production, and then you have these sci-fi channel effects pop up. And it's just a very weird combination, and you know what? A lot of times people ask what's a movie you would like to be remade, and I always blank out because it's spur of the moment. It's like during streams, I'm like, man, I don't know. And I can't think of it. I'm sure if you ask me again, I won't think of it. A Sound of Thunder is a film that I would see a remake of. Granted, I don't know how you fix the. It'd have to be some bullshit where, I don't know, you go back and somehow maybe your suit. I don't know how you would do it where if you go back to the present, how come you yourself haven't been changed by this butterfly event, but these other things have been changed? Maybe have it where some of your team have changed and some of you haven't. You just luck of the draw, and we gotta change things. There'd be a lot of work you have to put into it, but yeah, a remake of this I would be interested in seeing. Use more practical effects, have more action in the vein of Aliens. You have these weird designs, baboon, dinosaur, whatever, or even weirder ones. Okay, but yeah, I don't know where I'm going with that. I guess don't remake good movies, remake bad movies. And it is a bad movie, but I just keep thinking what the backstory of this was. You hear the bits of it, but maybe I mean maybe that's just it. We didn't have the money. We had to complete it, or we filmed the stuff. Post production, we didn't have the money. That's it. They didn't give us the money. Supposed to have this much. They gave us $8. This is what we could do for $8. So maybe that's the full story there. I don't know. But with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye bye.